All right, so we've unmuted everyone to keep this fairly personal, and we'll work through the presentation together. So a bit about myself first. My name is Jason Steinberg. I'm with the Scanifly team. I've been in renewable energy and specifically solar for about 10 years. I studied it in undergrad and spent some time both in Europe and China, learning about clean energy and the broader industry. While I was in university, I also was a rooftop installer in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And so I know firsthand what it's like to climb up on a 3-story ladder, carrying a panel, burn your forearms under the shingles on a 100-degree day. And so definitely can empathize with the experience you've had. After that, I was a lead researcher for Bloomberg New Energy Finance, where I tracked all of the solar projects in the US and Canada. And then after that, spent some time as a banker helping provide financing for solar projects around the country. For Scanifly, I help run sales, among several other things, and I'm a NABCEP associate. I love solar because it's one of the only clean energy technologies that can be used both for your home as well as for a large-scale power plant, and I really believe it's the future of energy. Okay, and a bit about our team. This theme of having industry experience resonates with all of us. So our combined team has done about 30 years in solar. We've held almost every job in the industry except manufacturing. So we're coming to the software lens from the perspective of you, from having been there on the roof, right? So Dave was a former surveyor. He was a project manager for over 600 sites in the Southwest. Connor, who's now our software developer, started his career as a SunPower installer. And John, who's one of our founders, has designed over 2,000 projects in his career. So we understand firsthand the experiences you're going through, and our goal is to try to solve them. And I'll talk about that in a minute. A bit about Scanifly overall. We were founded in 2015 and commercialized in 2018. Also in 2018, we struck a partnership with the Drone Pilot Ground School to help our customers get their Part 107 drone licenses more easily and at a discount. In 2019, our software became the only drone-based shading tool approved for shading purposes across the country. And we also teamed up with NABCEP to provide continuing education programs focused on LiDAR and 3D modeling in drones. This last year, we spent a lot of time expanding our features, including creating automatic exports to AutoCAD and to SketchUp, as well as offering a variety of sales tools that really can allow you to show the imagery in a major way. Okay, so that's a little bit about our company. I'm going to hide my video now, and I'm going to walk you through a bit of a story that you could probably resonate with, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so think about if these pictures resonate with you, right? So this first one here is outdated, pixelated, imperfect satellite imagery. Right? Is that a vent pipe or is that a skylight? Can you see the roof plane elevations? If the imagery is at an angle, how do you know that? Right? So we have found that roughly 91% of solar professionals find satellite imagery to be insufficient to fully build a project. Right? Therefore, the vast majority of the industry has to go to the project site to conduct a technical survey before doing construction. Okay. And the question is, what happens when you're on site? As I alluded to from my experiences, you gotta usually put a ladder going up to the roof. Hopefully you're not doing what some of these guys are doing, but ladder runs can be dangerous. And if you could stay up the roof, why wouldn't you want to? Also, when you're on the roof, doing a tape measure to manually capture the dimensions. And then this is a common output for what we all have probably written, right? You write everything down on paper, you try to mark where the obstructions are, and you do the best you can to document all of the dimensions on site. Also, do a shading analysis. Typically, if you use an on-site tool, hopefully it's reliable and hopefully it works. Again, you're still on the roof in compromising positions. Alternatively, if you're using satellite imagery, right, your shading analysis is only as good as the satellite imagery, which, as we covered, there's some limitations. So all of this leads to change orders. Big or small, it leads to redesigns. And no customer likes being told that they could fit 18 panels and really only 15 were installed ultimately. If you're an installer, you hate figuring it out on the fly or having to call your designer or call financing or call permitting to determine, can I change what based on what's really on the site? So fixing arrays as you go, that will slow down the process. It will create change orders, it will compress profit margins, and overall creates a negative experience for customers. Okay, so these are problems that exist in solar. This is what we're trying to solve at Scanifly. So just as we, before we progress further, what I'd love to get a sense for is why are you here, right? What are you hoping to gain from using Scanifly software, from doing the Scanifly? And so I'm going to release just a quick poll, and let's get a sense for which of these problems resonate with you, and which of them are things that you would like to address by hopefully working with Scanifly. So just give it a couple of seconds. If you can fill out the items that resonate, you select all that apply, and then we'll continue on. Okay, we'll give it a couple more seconds. All right, we'll wrap up in a moment there. Okay, great. All right. So it seems like everyone who has joined us, they care about accuracy and getting better imagery, and then also shading analysis, right? So the idea of putting it all together for shading purposes, okay? And here's some of the results. I'll just show them briefly, right? So everyone here is caring about those metrics, okay? All right. All right, so Scanifly can solve a lot of these problems that exist, right? And for us, it's about the software and how it could drive the process more effectively, right? Our goal for you is that we can streamline the solar workflow from the point of closing a sale with perfect accuracy and beautiful imagery, and to automatically create construction documents and shading reports, all while staying off the roof. To start off, I'm going to walk you through a couple more slides, and then we'll jump into the software. We'll talk about workflow and solutions, what drones you should consider, if you want your Part 107, and then we'll walk through all of the features, okay? So in terms of the Scanifly workflow, here's what you would do instead of that manual process that I just showed you. First, when you go to the site, you're going to fly a drone. This is a drone that you can have, and if you don't have a drone, we have a national network of pilots that you can tap into. The drone flight should take between 10 and 12 minutes, and there's a certain methodology that we work through, and I'll show you that in a moment. Once you've got your drone pictures, and they're really just JPEGs, you can then upload those pictures to our software. It takes between 2 to 3 hours to get your 3D model, and after that, you'll get a virtual replica to scale 3D model of the property, okay? From there, you'll be able to design and analyze the project, and then ultimately export a variety of files, right? We want our software to be as portable for you and your workflow as possible. And as a result, you can do AutoCAD or SketchUp exports, sales materials, shade reports, a host of different things. Here are some of our notable customers across the US. And so these customers have transformed their workflows by leveraging our software. Just some benefits that you'll get from using the software, right? So you're definitely going to reduce time on site by up to 90%, especially for those large commercial roofs, right? You don't have to figure out where all the obstructions are. You don't have to put everything on paper. Your on-site survey will be significantly reduced time-wise. You're going to get far better accuracy than satellite imagery. You're getting the most up-to-date map. You're getting it in 3D, and you're getting it with granular detail, right? And so you're going to get significantly better accuracy. And you're going to improve worker safety, right? So if you are worried about getting on the roof after precipitation, if you're in an area where it snows or a very steep roof, like, you don't have to worry about any of that anymore. And so you're going to be able to do things in a much more careful way, not worry about you're going to get home safe to your loved ones, okay? You're also going to get some fantastic imagery. So actually all these pictures here that I'm showing you are from the software. They're all pictures of Scanifly's platform and projects that have been modeled in Scanifly. So you're going to get great imagery that are going to allow you to close more sales and really drive a positive reputation in your market. As I mentioned before, we have a only drone-based shading tool to be validated by regulators. It's a fantastic solution for new builds. And so you can easily design and get it approved, whether you have to have all new construction having solar or just new builds that aren't updated in satellite imagery. So these are all benefits you will get and more from using our software. So I'm just going to pause for a second and see if there are any questions and then after that, we can continue on. So that first step of the workflow, let's now walk through it. All right, so in the US, you'll want to get your Part 107 drone pilot's license. You need that to fly for commercial purposes, right? If you're flying for recreational or educational purposes, you don't really need it. But for commercial purposes, you definitely do. At Scanifly, we don't have a policy of telling people how to run their businesses, so it's your decision, but we do strongly recommend that you get that, that Part 107. We have a great relationship with Drone Pilot Ground School, as I said earlier in the presentation, so if you want to get the 107, we have it at discounted pricing for you. It's $225 for the curriculum. I believe the test for the Part 107 is $160. It's an in-person exam, multiple choice. Now, you know, if you're outside the US, there are some equivalent exams, and we know that exists in Canada and in a bunch of European countries. We're happy to try to help figure it out for you. In terms of the drone, you can use any drone that takes a geotagged image. What that means is the longitude, latitude, and altitude are stamped on each JPEG picture, and that's what creates that 2-scale 3D model, you know, per the question before. So any drone can be used as long as it takes a geotagged image. Now, we do recommend the Mavic 2 Pro as the best choice, or the Phantom series or the Mavic Air in that order. Those are all DJI products. We definitely recommend staying away from the Mavic Mini or the DJI Spark. They're smaller, they have less automation benefits, they're not as professional, they don't keep up as well. You would want to use Mavic or Phantom series. There's some other drones by Skydio and Autel that are also great. Unique is another one, less common, but those also will work as long as it takes a geotagged image, and all of those do. Okay. And then in terms of how to fly the drone, so we advocate for flying a point of interest flight path. The point of interest mode is a variety of circles around a house, and you'll want to fly first a large context flight that is at a higher altitude and a larger radius to really pick up all the context of the overall scene. And then you want to fly a lower flight called the detailed flight, and that is at a lower altitude and you know, will be focused on the obstructions of the roof. And the combination of these two flight paths will allow you to really understand you know, specifically you know, how to create a good 3D model and get the right imagery. And actually, in our next segment, we're going to walk through what that looks like. So let me pull up some drone photos for you. All right, and so let's take a look at what some good drone photos look like. So here's the start of the flight. This is the context flight, and as you can see here, you're able to take images every 2 to 3 seconds. The house is in the center of the frame. You're also including some of the surrounding obstructions like trees and homes. And as you go forward, you're just taking pictures in a circle, right? You want to get about 80 to 90% overlap, okay? This is just a time lapse of that. And then once you're done with this first context flight, you're then going to lower your drone and you're going to restart taking pictures, but doing another circle around the obstructions. Right, you want to see the sides of these obstructions here as you go through. And then same thing on the back of the roof, right? This house has 2 detailed flights because there are 2 clusters of obstructions, right? And so you just want to take pictures. So that's pretty much it. JPEGs in circular patterns. And we have a variety of resources that I'll point out at the end for how to learn how to do that, okay? Now, once you've gotten yourself set up with your images, after that, you want to then go into the software, and you're going to want to then upload those images. Okay, and let me walk you through what that looks like right now. Okay, so go to our website, and you click login. Okay, and then from there, you have your My Projects page, which is your centralized dashboard in your Scanifly account. All right, this is where all of your projects will be located. Just click New Project here, and this box opens up. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to drop in your photos, just like that. They'll upload. Remember, they're geo-referenced, so they will automatically be placed around the map. Here, each yellow dot represents a drone photo. okay? You're gonna select your project type. This one's residential. You know, just adjust the box here and include what's relevant for shading, so the trees and the house, and then click upload, right? And so it's drop in the photos, select your project type, click upload. Those are the steps for uploading your project, okay? Within 2 to 3 hours, you should get your 3D model back. You get an email that says your 3D model is ready. And then let's look at what the finished product is, right? So you got your project right here. And there you go. Here's the finished result. Okay, you can see everything that was mapped in those images. You got the trees, the house, you got the vent pipes, all of that's here, okay? You can measure anything in the 3D space. So if you want to determine how tall the roof is, so you know what ladder to bring, you're gonna bring the 30-footer. How tall is that tree? No problem, it's 23 feet. So you can measure anything in the 3D space, okay? You also can conduct a shading analysis that's more of a simulation. So this here is a qualitative walkthrough. And so you can see anything that's in the 3D model, there will be a shading analysis, a shading simulation will be done, okay? And then lastly, you could place annotations in your 3D model, and this allows you to compare notes, right? So we know that a lot of times that different roles within the overall project lifecycle, they don't talk to each other. So for example, the designer can say to the installer, you know, inverter placement. And from there, you could say, you know, place 3 feet from meter, right? And maybe your salesperson spoke to the homeowner and they said, you know, don't block the driveway, right? Parking and setup, don't block the driveway. So this gives you a really good framework for having a dialogue across the workflow. You know, back here, it might be ladder placement, right? Okay. And so this allows everyone to have that communication. And by the time the installation happens, a lot of the installers we know minimize these menus. They come into the 3D space and they take a tour of the overall site. They look at the notes, they look at the 3D model, and they have a game plan for when they get out to the project. Okay. I'm going to remove these just to save some space. And now let's design some solar. Okay. So first we're going to add a segment, hit create outline, and we're going to trace the roof plane. This allows you to really granularly know exactly where you're going to be putting solar. Okay, let's make sure our 90 degrees snap there. Perfect. Looks good. Okay, now you can see that this is flashing pink to yellow. This will allow you to set tilt and azimuth automatically. All right, same thing with why it's flashing pink over here. So all you do is select that polyline, select the arrow pointing towards the orientation, and it will set tilt and azimuth. And you know that because you have a 3D model here, so you see that angle, and you also you know, have a georeference so you can determine the azimuth, right? Next, you're gonna do a shading analysis. It's called view sheds. It's like having another on-site tool like a Suneye or Pathfinder, but in the virtual space. So just click add a view shed. And here you go. You've got your shading analysis from morning through evening throughout the year. We recommend placing 4 for best practices. Okay. And there we go. Now you've got your shading analysis done, you know, 97% solar access. Next, you'll want to fill out your keep outs. These are areas where solar should not go. Okay. All right, so I'm just doing some generic vent pipe dimensions here on the left. And then let's say hypothetically that this here is a skylight. Okay, and let's add some height to the skylight as well. Okay. And make it perpendicular with the roof. Great, so we've got our keep outs outlined, and then you also can determine fire setbacks, right? We know a lot of jurisdictions have rules regarding fire codes, so just click fire. Let's say 36 inches off the ridge, maybe 18 on the side here, and you've determined areas where solar shouldn't go for fire setbacks, okay? The last step will be to fill out your array. You could select modules from the default library or just add your module. You know, we believe that you know exactly what modules you want to use, and you'll keep it updated much quicker than we can, considering there's new modules every month that come out. So just punch in the different data and then choose your texture map, and you can choose exactly what type of module you need. From there, you choose your racking and spacing and click Fill Modules, okay? Now, given that you have the space here, in dynamic mode, you can easily convert that to landscape, okay? And let's see if we can get that as updated as possible to fill in as many modules. There we go. Or you can go into manual mode here, and this allows you to really design accordingly. So I'm gonna delete these. Maybe we'll add them back in portrait mode. Okay, can we squeeze a couple more? And they snap in place to add another one there. Right, so you have total customizability in the software. Maybe you want to select all of them and move the array. You can also do that too. Okay. So for the sake of time, I'm going to delete this just to show you a finished product. So let's delete this roof plane here, and let's load the previously saved changes. And there you go. This is what a finished product looks like. You've got all of your roof planes outlined. You've got your modules filled in, your keypads noted. If you want to go here to the Layers tab, this will allow you to turn on and off different ways to view it, right? So if you're talking just to the customer, just show them the modules, right? So you can really customize the way you're looking at things. Also here in the Project Info tab on the top left, click Info, and this will allow you to show your production versus consumption, your customers' data, as well as the different per segment information. For example, here you've got your shading breakdown per viewshed and the overall losses using the PV1 API. So there's a variety of information flow that you'll get from the Project Info section. Okay. Just two more types of features I'd love to walk you through. We've got importing 3D models and then exports. Right, so Scanifly's foundation is 3D modeling, right? And really having that flexibility and customization, but in the 3D space. So if you want to import a 3D model, you can do that from your library, or you can pull from the Scanifly library. For example, if you are planting trees, all you have to do is select the tree, seed it, and plant it, right? If the neighbor is planting trees too, you can show what they look like. Maybe you want to simulate if they are going to double in height. And there you've got trees. And don't forget to update your shading analysis by adding a new view shed on the back of the house here. And as you can see here from this view shed, those trees will now form in the morning time frame, and that will affect that shading, right? This lowers the view shed solar access to 66% from 97%, right? You also can add other types of 3D models like inverters, ladders, other shapes. There's a lot of customization that you can do, okay? And then when it comes to exports, you can use survey data, so that's drone data, like orthomosaics in your drone pictures. There's the shade files, such as your shade report, and then you have your CAD files, right? So AutoCAD exports, SketchUp exports, as well as the PVSys. And so there's a lot of portability with the software. One final export to reference is the share tool, which is up here on the top right. Just click share. You'll want to select the banner image. You'll select some of your screenshots, type in the customer info, click share. Just copy the link, paste it down. This is intended to be shared with your customer and to promote the project. You have customization here at the top to state the project name and the customer's info. Your logo will be here to promote your business. With the share tool, you'll be able to select these screenshots here to enlarge them. The coolest thing is this 3D model is embedded here, and you can really show exactly what the 3D space looks like. So your customer can play around with that 3D model just like you did in the software. You also have production versus consumption, and you can download the drone pictures directly, right? So that customer always asks for that drone photos. It's pretty cool, and they can download it directly from our servers, as well as posting it on Facebook and Twitter. Okay, so directly publicizing it for you and your business, or if they want to say they're going solar to their family and friends and proud to go solar with you. So you've got a lot of customization here with the share tool. Okay. All right, so that wraps up the demonstration. Let me just go back to the slides, and let's wrap up what we were walking through, right? So the question is, where do we go from here, right? You know, and this is the typical onboarding process that occurs. You know, right now we are in the software introduction, but next you'll want to consider, you know, should you get your Part 107? What drone should you consider buying? And we can help you with that. From there, you'll go to your onboarding period where you learn how to fly. We work with you on how to do that, learning everything about your drone, and you work through a trial, which is up to 4 projects at a discounted price. And then you become a customer. And our customers, you know, we don't really stop with, okay, you're a customer, we're not going to talk to you, right? We want your feedback. We want to know what we can do to build the future of solar together. We also offer a ton of continuing education, whether it's through NABCEP or HeatSpring, 2 fantastic resources. We also put together webinars, write editorials, and post a lot of video content, right? So we want to continually help you get better and drive value into your solar workflow, okay? So I'm just going to launch one other set of polls, and I'd love to get a sense for, you know, what you want to do for next steps, okay? And this is not going to be publicized, but we'd love to hear, you know, where are you in the onboarding process? Where are you in the cycle for what you want to do with Scanifly? So fill out the poll. Let us know if you want us to contact you. Let us know what you would like to do for next steps. So I'll just give that a couple of seconds. All right, we'll let everyone else just finish up. Okay, great. So just to wrap things up, as I mentioned, we have a variety of resources. We have an extensive YouTube library. We have a lot of materials on our website under resources, specifically this guidebook on how to fly drones for solar, and we offer a lot of continuing education. In terms of our pricing, we charge for a subscription, and Scanifly is offered where you could pay for that subscription to get access to the platform and an allotment of projects, right? And we also break down projects based on square footage. So for example, residential projects are under 30,000 square feet. The onboarding process is 30 days, and as I mentioned, it includes you know, a discounted price, but you get up to 4 projects, and we work very closely with you to get you up to speed. There's no way to activate your Scanifly account on your own, so you have to reach out to us, and we will work through it with you, and especially once you've got your drone and your license handy, okay? And what's highlighted in red is typically what a lot of our customers are getting to get the best combination of value and number of projects over the course of the year, okay? Okay, that more or less wraps it up. Any final questions?